Diamond Pillars Women's Ministry presents the Birthing Room Retreat. Theme, The Woman Warrior with Purpose. Friday, 4th May till Monday, 5th May. Bank Holiday Weekend. Venue, Sedgebrook Hall, Pittsford Road, Chapel, Brampton, Northamptonshire, NN6 8BD. Price £190. Early bird price till March 31st. £220 thereafter. Price includes accommodation, all meals, use of spa and conference materials. Goodie bag for all ladies. Email info@diamondpillargems.com. www.diamondpillargems.com. Facebook page The Birthing Room or call 07908173527, 07720274776. Host Charlene Quay. Guest Pastor Betty Oheniopraku. Prophetess Sharon French. Pastor Benedicta Olagunju. Pastor Agnes Sunu. Marsha Dixon. Temi Koliowo. Reverend Lade Hepzibah Olubeme. Vida Latte. Monique Ajayi.
Hello everyone, you're welcome to the Diamond Women Show. I pray this show finds you in good health. This is the day the Lord has made and we will rejoice and be glad. I'm your host, Charlene Quay. I'm very happy to be here again with you guys today. I have with me my special guest, Evangelist Rose. I'm actually going to let her introduce herself.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me, woman of God.
You're welcome.
My name is Evangelist Rose, which you know.
Yeah.
I'm basically, who am I? I'm a mom, yes, wife-to-be, and I'm a visionary of The Two Shall Be One.
Okay.
The Two Shall Be One ministry, which is a prayer ministry, teaching ministry for marriage and for singles. Basically reviving families, yeah? Reviving and restoring families, and also co-visionary of Women with a Vision movement, which is an intercessory ministry again for revival. So I'm all about prayer, I'm all about the word, and I'm all about missions, revival, and family. That's my passion. Is
That's
family.
your passion, family.
Yeah, it is family. Yeah.
Our topic for today is picking up the pieces. It's a topic to do with domestic abuse. Domestic abuse affects every class, every society, every colour, every creed, every social status. It affects everyone. For the benefit of the show, I want to apologise to the men who might think that, it's like we're just focusing on the women. We know that men have been abused too. But for this platform, it's a women's platform, so we're looking at the women from the women's perspective. Domestic abuse is something that is very rampant, even in the body of Christ.
Yes.
1 out of 3 women are going through domestic abuse. And every week, at least 2 women die. They're killed through domestic abuse. So it's a big, big topic. Our dear sister here, is a domestic abuse survivor.
Yes, that's right.
And you've got a passion for helping women to rebuild their lives.
Yes, that's right, to recover. Because it's not good enough for us to just raise awareness if we don't also talk about how do we help people through the process of coming out of it and then recovering from it and hopefully building their life after it as well. So, yes, my marriage lasted 14 years.
Wow.
And in that time of 14 years, we had different times of separation, but the biggest one was a 5-year separation, which at that time the Lord said to me, separate but don't divorce him, and I'll work on him and just keep praying. And it took 5 years for him to be restored back, and we kind of rededicated our marriage. Unfortunately, the behavior within a month of me having the second born, that kind of abusive behavior set in again within a month. And this time I knew better to expose it to the elders, to the church, because we had accountability partners by then. But despite the counsel, despite everything, basically it got to a stage whereby I literally nearly died. I faced uncountable things. And at that time, I remember the Lord said to me, listen, the wise see trouble and keep going. Sorry, the foolish see trouble and keep going, but the wise, you can see trouble, you need to hide. You've got to close your doors on this, because if you don't, it's affecting the children. And once those children are affected, it's going to take another how many years to bring these things out again. So at that stage, you know, he said to me, you've got to let him go, because he was pressing for divorce. And I was saying, no, 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 no. So in the end, I had to accept and say yes. And at that point, he ran off. But the Lord said, nope, you need to let him go through this divorce. And that's what people don't understand, that God hates divorce, but God will permit divorce.
And he hates abuse. God hates
because
abuse.
Because he hates treachery. And treachery is part of abuse. Abuse is part of treachery. Anything, infidelity, abuse, violence, dishonor, you know, things that we do to each other, God expects us not to take marriage as a license to cover iniquity and wickedness. No, he will not accept it in his name. He will not accept it. No.
Do you remember, was it last year? I think end of last year. Did you hear about that story of a woman that had been married for 30 years? And she finally plucked the courage. This man had put this woman through. My goodness, I couldn't believe some of the things that he put her through.
Yeah.
Really awful, wicked, horrendous situation.
Yes.
30 years.
Because she was believing all that time that she could bring a turnaround. And that's what many of you women are doing. You know, even some of you men, you're thinking that the marriage will just change, and you're praying, and it's good to pray. But praying without works is dead.
It's dead.
And there has to be wise action alongside your praying. And if you allow somebody to continue maltreating you, it basically means you are agreeing.
Yeah.
If you don't do anything about it, you're agreeing. So she
was
was trusting and hoping that the man would change, but she wasn't putting in a boundary to say, I'm not accepting this
anymore.
You see, there has to be a boundary you put in, a practical boundary, that if you do this, these are the consequences. You know, if you do that, these are the consequences. We will separate if you do this anymore. You know, so there has to be that, because that's how the world runs.
It's like 30 years. It must have taken a lot of courage.
Yeah, her esteem was battered, probably.
Definitely.
Her esteem was battered.
Definitely.
Her self-worth was battered. Don't forget, before the physical comes in, there's so much verbal abuse. So when I look back now, I thought quite a confident person. But in doing everything to keep my marriage,
made you...
You know, when he says, you're not this, you're not this, you're not this. So you start judging yourself, and you start trying to change your personality, doing everything possible
just to please
be
him.
The perfect woman, you know. And at the end of the day, you lose your sense of what is right and wrong, and just your sense of value. And that's what God had to rebuild. That, look, love is not based on if somebody's perfect. If that was so, he wouldn't love us. You know, love is based on the fact that it's a gift, and it's a way of treating somebody. It's a way of viewing somebody with love, with respect, with honor. And that's what he expects for all of us, irrespective of how somebody is not doing what you think. So as he put back my esteem, I was able to stand and say, no, this is actually very, very wrong on every level. Yes.
Because you hear a lot of women saying, oh, I'm staying in this marriage even though I'm being abused because of the children. But those children can see what you're going through, and it's affecting them, as you said.
My daughter said to me, after we'd been separated about 3 years, and you know, she went through a lot of grief, because you see, they miss their father. So they have the missing part, and you know, she went through so much grief. But she used to ask me in the house when we were still together, why does Daddy go to church when he's going to come home and fight? Because we'll go to church, everything will be fine, and come home, and all of a sudden something would set off, and then she just couldn't understand it. And sometimes she'd be watching silently, and she couldn't understand, and she couldn't also, you know, they can't talk against their parents, you know, so they go inside themselves. So really, she was seeing a template that was harming her. And later on, she said to me, you know what, Mum, I think I prefer it now, two separate people in peace, than what I saw, because she couldn't also tolerate seeing me be hurt. It was damaging her as a daughter and as a girl to see that, and she couldn't put two and two together, so she was tending to blame God. But why does God allow this? And it's only when I put a stop to it that God said to me, you were showing her something wrong, and you were sowing seeds in her of a wrong relationship. And she was now blaming God. So can you imagine, her faith would have been destroyed if I stayed in that marriage, just because of what we were doing in that marriage. So it's not, it sounds good, but I would say that no, it's better to actually, even if you want the marriage to work, separate
for a while.
separate, get sound counsel, and make sure there's accountability. Make sure your husband, your wife is taking responsibility for their own part in it. Because that's what happens. It's just this person. It's just no.
The blame game.
Everybody's got to make, changes. Because I was complicit in it. He was complicit in it. There's an aggressor, there's a perpetrator, there's a victim. But both of us are wrong in our thinking. Because none of it is in the Word of God. See? So that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter how long it takes. If it takes 5 years for that process to happen, let it be 5 years.
Let it be 5 years.
Let it be 5 years. It's got to take its course for true deliverance and repentance to come
take place.
Yeah.
What are some of the signs or characteristics of a perpetrator? Because a lot of women are like, oh, I didn't see, he wasn't like that in the beginning. But there's always signs.
I was
and
like
we always
that.
miss it.
I was like that. The first sign I would say that I missed, because I was a very, I still am, I suppose, a very vocal person, yeah? So he said to me that, you started it because, when he swore at me, I used to slap his face, okay? Because I don't take swearing, people. Anyway, so he always says that I started it. But irrespective, insecurity. If I didn't take his point of view, even when we were courting in something, he saw that as I was trying to rule over him. And I used to always wonder about it. It took me years to work out that it was insecurity because I saw the confident side of him and I saw his potential. I didn't realize that insecurity is because he didn't feel maybe good enough, or maybe his manhood was being affected, by my strengths. You understand me?
Yeah.
Even though he loved my strengths, but later on he turned back and hated my strengths.
But what is that thing about? Because I've heard that so many times.
Yeah. Insecurity is a big thing.
Yeah.
When somebody cannot just agree to disagree, allow you to have your own opinions without having to enforce them, on you, that is not good, because it means that something in them is not able to accept different points of view within their own jurisdiction. And I think very much is what they see when they're growing up. I believe it's what they see when they're growing up, because I can't understand why.
It has to come from somewhere.
Because it comes from somewhere. Dual personality is another biggie. When they're so nice outside. In fact, most people who are abusive, I would say, whether it's domestic abuse, but even when you get sexual abuse and you get paedophiles and things, they are
so
experts
nice outside
at hiding
who
their
they
true
are.
personality. They are experts. And every one of you will know that you're seeing two different people. I was the same out and in. If I'm angry outside, I'm angry inside. I can't do the two.
Yeah, change.
But when you see people that they're experts at double personality, that is an abusive trait. Because they know how to look to the society. Everybody has what they do inside, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they know how to look one way and be the blessed brother or sister outside. But inside, it's like living with the enemy. Yeah? They know how to go to church and say hallelujah, yet they hate God. Now, how does that work? Because he went through a stage in his life whereby he hated God. He was struggling with his faith and he hated God, but only I saw it. And when one of the pastors actually saw it and he opened up to her, she said, repent immediately. How can you say this again? And I said, well, I've been living with this for years.
For 14 years.
Yeah, I've been living with this for years. So double personality is another biggie as well. People who haven't got any form of self-control with their anger, they say everything and anything when they're angry. And, I was somebody that, because I talk a lot, people were like, oh, because you talk a lot, that's why. So maybe I had to learn not to talk as much. But one thing that I learned from a very early age, by the Spirit of God, is you don't touch somebody's dignity when you're arguing. You stick to the point. People who destroy people's personality, their shape, you look like this, you're this, calling all kinds of names, that's not correction. That's not argument. That's destructive.
That's derogatory.
And that's abusive. You understand? That's abusive. So people who speak things with their words, if your husband is speaking to you to words which are derogatory, words that are derogatory in the bedroom, words that are derogatory in front of your children. This happened to me. In front of the children, your mother is A, B, C, D, and E. Your mother is this and that. Insults, against your personality, against maybe your the way you look. These things are abusive. And I didn't call it abusive when I was in it. It took God bringing me out of it for me to realize I was an abused woman. Imagine. So a lot of women don't even call themselves abused.
Some people don't even know they're being abused.
No. I didn't even know that word until I'd finished everything. And then the Lord said to me, this is what you have just gone through. Can you write a book about it, please? So sometimes when people hear domestic abuse or violence, they actually judge themselves that they're fine. They're just having marital issues. No.
A lot of it's abuse.
A lot of it's abuse, yes.
Because you've got
the physical abuse.
Yes.
You've got the emotional abuse.
Yes, you've got the emotional.
You've got sexual abuse.
Yes.
And then you've got financial abuse too.
Yes, and normally the financial goes alongside the one or the other abuses, because it's all about control. If you're not allowed to speak your mind, you're not allowed to have any opinions, you're not allowed to buy or go where you want within reason. You know what I mean? You're oppressed. Your decisions are oppressed. Emotional abuse is basically, emotionally destroying
Your self-worth.
Your
and
self-worth.
confidence,
Yes.
eroding your self-confidence.
Yes, in fact, that one's one of the most painful things, because what you start doing is you start doing everything possible to please the person. So if the person says jump through the hoops,
you do it just
you
to
do
please
it.
them.
If the person says, I want to eat this today, you quickly rush and do it. Then the next day, they throw it at you then, I don't want this today. So now you start thinking, you quickly jump. Okay, what do you want? So you keep changing, so you lose your center. You lose
just to
who
please this
you are,
person.
just trying. So now they become your God, you see?
Wow,
They become
that
your
is powerful.
dictator in the house. That's what starts happening. And that's emotional abuse. And emotional abuse also sets the tone of the house. The minute they put the key in the lock, your heart is
Your
like...
heart starts racing.
Your heart is like this, because you're not sure, what they're going to say. So, everybody scatters to their room, because you simply don't want to be around
It's
them.
so unhealthy, isn't it? For your health, your well-being,
It's bad
your
for-
sanity.
For your sanity. I've got something that says, if it's against your security or your sanity or your safety, it is abuse. You need to bring separation. Because sanity, when you lose your sanity, you can't fight anything. When you don't even know who you are, what's right and
You're
wrong
just
anymore.
lost. You're lost.
And you're trying to hold on to this so-called marriage, and yet this marriage is destroying your life, you've got to make a choice for life, because God gave you life, by the way. God gave you life before he gave you marriage.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So as much as
So-
marriage is important, so is your life.
Life. So first of all, respect what God has given you, because he's not going to clap for you if you go before your time and say, because my husband abused me. He's going to say, I gave you life. Steward your life first. And then you can save your marriage
save
from
your
a place
marriage.
of safety.
Yeah, place of safety.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So these are all the kind of experiences that I'm very, very familiar with. Yeah.
Domestic abuse is like, the root cause is all about oppression, isn't it? And control.
It's control. Because they feel out of control for whatever reasons. There's so many reasons. It could be how they grew up. It could be how they see manhood, how they see womanhood. Women control in terms of sexually. They control with their mouths. They control with what they speak about their husbands in the public. You understand? It's a very serpentine spirit. It's a very satanic spirit. It cloaks itself with light, but underneath is darkness.
It's very dark.
The agenda is always manipulation and control. That's why when you want to separate, deadly things start happening to you, because they're like, if I can't oppress you, I would rather kill you.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
that's
that
why
makes
even
sense.
with the not well women, what do you call them? The agency, the agency.
Women's Aid.
Women's Aid.
Women's Aid.
They always say, make a plan. Make a plan. Don't
Before
just
you leave.
speak to them. Make a plan. If you're going to lock your door, or if you're going to leave, you need to make a plan. And don't take the whole world. But honestly,
few
in the
items.
book, few items, you have to make a plan to make sure you and your children, if you have any, are safe, and that you are not going to put yourself at risk of further harm. And please do not tell them where you are until you are safe and you've restored back your sense of confidence. Because that is one major thing. In trying to save the marriage,
self-worth.
they say, no, I want to talk about the marriage. No. But the marriage was on,
Life support machine.
Exactly. What we need now is your life. Your life must now be put back together. That's why we call it picking up the pieces.
Pick up the pieces.
Your life, your sense of trust, your sense of worth,
Well-being,
your
everything.
value, your esteem, what he said against you in the church. All these things have to be put back together, and give God time to restore you before you even worry about the marriage, please. I'm not saying God has restored marriages and does, but he does it in a rightful way and in a process. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are one strong, courageous woman.
I wasn't at the
I
time.
can imagine. It broke you down.
I wasn't at the time. I used to say to God, why me? Why can't you just stop this thing? And why, and everything I learned in the furnace of fire, in the fiery furnace. And, no pastor said to me, apart from at the end, this is wrong. The beginning, all they talked about is just go and pray about it.
Yeah, go and pray. Oh, yeah, now that you've said that, let's get into that. So a lot... Where do I start from? a lot of people are having this challenge with the church. That as soon as when they finally do brave it up to tell the pastor, go and fast and pray.
Go and fast
Go
and
and
pray.
fast and pray. Or you've got a big mouth.
Yes.
Or you talk too much.
You know why? Because they put... Now, I'm somebody that I'm, you know, like I said, I love family. I believe very much in the scriptures. You know, we're Christians. I believe in submission. I believe in authority of your husband. However, the scriptures are clear. In Matthew 20, Jesus says something. He said, don't let it be among you like the Gentiles, lording it over them. He said the same thing to pastors. That, you know, Peter said, if you're going to be an overseer or a shepherd, it's not for you to lord it over, rather to be an example.
Yes,
so, yes, he's given you your position, but he's also given you job description. And the job description shows you what is acceptable in how you carry out that duty or that position. So this issue of just praying because the woman is just this or that is wrong. You need to bring the head to account. I can't understand men out there who all the time you're shouting about our African leaders. Let's bring it home. Shouting about the irresponsibility of African leaders who are doing all sorts of things without accountability. Yet are you accountable in your own
house?
Are you accountable to the scriptures? Are you accountable to family? Are you accountable to the church? So they always, you know, beg the woman to pray, but they fail to bring the men in to accountability. Because if you're the head, let's start by the head. Really?
It's getting, I'm just like, fast
let's
and
start
pray.
by the head. Why is it that when you're angry with your wife, you feel it is
Right
acceptable
to
or you have
attack
a
her.
license to abuse your wife? Because I don't have a license to abuse my children. But my children, I am in authority over my
your
children.
Yeah.
But I
Not to
do not
abuse
have a
them.
license to abuse my children. So how have we made it that men have a license in the name of marriage?
Yeah,
And this
to
is where the
abuse
Lord
women.
has really got me speaking and preaching and praying about family, that we have to restore all
The
of God's
order.
mind. The order of God is the man is the head, but the head of the man is Christ.
Just Christ.
Which means that everything Christ believes, every way Christ behaves, is what he's expecting to
From the
manifest
man, for him to
in the
embrace
man.
it.
And then the woman, you are expected to submit to your husband. There's no way out of this. You know, I'm not one of these who's going to say, you know, there's no way out of this. But the Christ-like conduct is our issue. You cannot keep telling people to go and pray about something. Prayer without works is dead.
And then they end up being
When it's
killed.
a cancer,
They get being killed.
if they had cancer, you would pray about it, but you say, go to the hospital and cut that growth out. There's a practical...
There's a process.
Yes.
Most of these women are going back home and being killed.
Basically, this is what happens. This is exactly what happens. And you send the woman back into fire time and time. I went into circumstances and went back home not knowing what was the next thing my husband will pull.
Did you know what they're planning in their head? Do you?
Yeah.
You don't even know what
Not
he's planning
knowing.
for you.
And it came to a stage whereby it had to be the Spirit of God giving me just my common sense.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, when I wasn't a believer, I said to God, I would know what to do. But as a believer, you're trying so hard to please God.
Yeah.
So you keep going to your elders. Because I was a new believer. He was a new believer. So you keep going to the elders. So we can't keep saying,
Asking
use
them.
your common sense to people. Because people are sheep. They're searching for leadership. You know, and now I'm in leadership. I understand. It's very important to counsel people right when they come to you.
Come to you.
Yeah. Don't just send them back in there. No.
So what do you think the church can do to help domestic abuse victims? What can they do? What strategies can we put in place?
Yeah. I think the first place is Matthew 18. If somebody offends you, Jesus said to us, you know, if a brother offends you, but let's put it now, a wife or a husband offends you, you know, you tell them about it. If you can't, when you tell them about it and they don't want to change it, you need to go to a witness. You need to bring two people. You know, and then it says take it to the church. So God holds his church in high esteem, and he expects us to have a governmental approach to it. Now, when it comes to your ears, woman of God, man of God, from there, you need to take it very seriously, even if you believe it's a false accusation. Because that's what they said to me. They said, oh, you're just saying this, you know,
because of what they've
bring
heard,
shame to you.
heard before.
You know, you're just doing this, you're just doing that. And also what he's probably told them.
told them, yeah.
But you need to take it. There needs to be a round table meeting. The two people need to be brought in, and it needs to be made plain what is acceptable and what isn't. And then there needs to be accountability put in. That if this continues, by the way, domestic violence and abuse is a criminal offense, that we'll have to bring the authorities in. And see, the problem with the church, why the world, I believe, one of the reasons they don't respect us enough, is they don't see us taking a stand against unrighteousness.
No.
They seem to be leading the way, and it shouldn't be. The church is God's authority, God's government in the land, and the government will be on his shoulders. So really speaking, we are supposed to lead the way to say this is not right.
Put a stamp.
And if we will put a stamp to it and say we will not accept this, the brothers will speak and minister to the men. The women will minister to the women. There will be accountability checkups going on. What is happening right now? If more men, and I firmly believe it, because I used to ask men in the church, please speak to my husband, because at that time he was still pliable. At one point, because they hardened in this thing, but at one point he was pliable.
Wickedness.
And I used to say to them, can't you speak to him? And they said, oh, he's the head of his house. We don't want to enter a man in his home. But he got to the point where he was so hard of heart that by the time they asked me to do everything, they asked me to kneel, to do everything, I did everything. He just was like, forget it. It was just full of pride. He didn't even believe in men of God anymore. He said, all of you people are liars. So look at how far Satan took him. So if we had got in there early and brought accountability and conviction in, we could have delivered him earlier. Now, he's delivered now, praise be to God. But let me tell you, it took years of me standing for him to be delivered, and his soul could have been lost. So it's not just about marriage. What about the soul?
The soul.
What about the soul of these people
It's a deep issue.
that has been taken captive by the spirit of
wickedness?
Wickedness, literally. No. The church has got to be accountable, I believe. Accountable and take a strong stand. And there are organizations out there that, like Restored, that take a stand that is not acceptable and put in accountability. Don't be afraid. If somebody has committed a crime, we need to kind of keep checking, Are you still on track? If somebody is, recovering from addiction, there's a checkup. Are you still all right? Are you still on track? So if somebody is known for abusive behavior, to save that man's soul or that woman's soul and their marriage, there needs to be accountability.
Every step of the way.
Definitely.
And another thing is that when women do finally pluck the courage to come out, they feel like they're ostracized from the church.
Yes, I was. And my solicitor told me, by the time it got to that stage, she said, oh, I don't want to take up your case, because she saw my surname. And she said, because your surname is Yoruba. And I found out that most of the time, no matter how deadly the abuse is, because of they're ostracized. Okay, thank you. Because they're ostracized, they go back into it. And it is specifically with Africans and black people and Caribbeans that happens. With Caucasians, a lot of times, people come round. Yeah. So we've got to change our behavior.
What's your final word for women out there who might have been going through this, or who've come out but are really facing challenges?
Well, now, they can call you.
Final word.
Yes. You can call me. At least find somebody who does not accept and agree with it, and report it, expose it. Do not be silent about it.
Don't suffer in
Never.
silence.
No.
You are worthy and you're honourable.
Amen.
We thank you for watching this broadcast. We have to do a part 2 of this programme.
I know.
Most definitely. God bless you all. May the peace of the Lord be with you. And we love you. God
Amen.
bless.
God bless you.
See you next week.
Diamond Pillars Women's Ministry presents the Birthing Room Retreat. Theme: The Woman Warrior with Purpose. Friday 4th May till Monday 5th May. Bank Holiday Weekend. Venue: Sedgebrook Hall, Pittsford Road, Chapel, Brampton, Northamptonshire, NN6 8BD. Price £190. Early bird price till March 31st. £220 thereafter. Price includes accommodation, all meals, use of spa and conference materials. Goodie bag for all ladies. Email info@diamondpillargems.com. www.diamondpillargems.com. Facebook page The Birthing Room, or call 07908173527, 07720274776. Host Charlene Quay. Guest Pastor Betty Oheniopraku. Prophetess Sharon French. Pastor Benedicta Olagunju. Pastor Agnes Sunu. Marsha Dixon. Temi Koliowo. Reverend Lade Hepzibah Olubame. Vida Latte. Monique Ajayi.